Hey, Foot Clan, today's episode is brought to you by Topps Huddle, the officially licensed NFL digital trading card app. Collect and trade your cards and use your collection to compete in daily fantasy-style gameplay. Download it for free in the App Store or Google Play and get 10 free packs today.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
It's Tuesday, October 6th. We are the Fantasy Footballers, and we're back again for yet another episode because we're always here talking fantasy football with you.
Are you ready for Trent Richardson Tuesday?
Trent Richardson Tuesday is back.
It's a lot like Fat Tuesday, right? But it's Trent.
That is awesome. I lost my bet that he would never receive another paycheck from an NFL team.
No, he's not signed.
Don't they pay him a few bucks to,
No.
like his travel? Do they pay his travel?
Yeah, but that's
doesn't
just
count.
tax deductions.
He's like, I can get some buffalo ribs if I get on the plane. Oh, we don't like Trent Richardson in the fantasy world, do we?
I like him as a man. I think I don't know.
I'd bat him right out of the back of the end zone if it were me.
Oh, come on now.
Low blow.
I would bat him right out of the back of my end zone.
Is anyone happy with that is not a Seattle Seahawks fan?
No.
Like anyone in the league? Anyone a fan of any team? Was anybody happy that the Seahawks won other than
Cam
Seahawks?
Chancellor's agent.
Yeah.
That is the
Pay
answer.
him.
The only thing that was missing from this debacle was a sweet Golden Tate interview.
I know.
Because last time it was Golden Tate with the catch.
The fail Mary.
And he was just egregious and ridiculous.
I know,
like when
I
they
know.
were trying to interview him, he's like, "Oh no, what
No.
are you talking about? How dare you
I didn't
accuse
push
me of
off.
that?"
So, people might not know what we're talking about with that play. We should
Okay.
So, at the end of the Lions game, Calvin Johnson was running into the end zone. He had the ball secured. He began to reach the ball over the goal line, and when he did that, Cam Chancellor came in and punched it right before he crossed the goal line. This is about 1:45 left, and Detroit was down by 3, and the ball's bouncing around in the end zone, and I believe Wright came along and swatted it out of the back of the end zone. It was kind of casual. It bounced up to his hand, and he hit it with his hand out
with
of the
the
back of the end
referee
zone.
staring directly at him.
But the caveat here is that that's against the rules, and so they've already, Dean Blandino already came out and said that's against the rules. The ball should have been given back to Detroit at the half-yard line. Now, obviously, they wouldn't have scored because Joique Bell was inactive, but no. But it changed the whole complexion of the game. I mean, it would have put them up. Now, Russell could have led them back down the field. They could have won the game anyway. But for this to happen to Seattle in their favor 2 times in prime time, once without replacement refs now.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it was just kind of silly, and obviously if you're a Calvin Johnson owner, that was a bummer too because you lost 2 points instead of gaining. It's
that was an 8-point
swing in your league. So we've got a good show today. We have our news and notes segment. We'll go through some injuries. There were some new reports. We're not joking about Trent Richardson, unfortunately. We have our waiver wire segment today, so we're going to go through guys you should be picking up, talk about the matchups that they have. And we've got more teams on bye this week. We'll give you that list. And we have a mailbag show coming up tomorrow where we will answer your questions. So you can go to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com. Click on the Submit a Question button and submit your question our direction, and we'll answer them on the show tomorrow. Sound good?
Sounds great. I'm gonna put a lot of questions out there for us.
Okay. Well, thanks.
All Jason's
Jason.
teams.
I almost called you by a different name that somebody on YouTube called you, but I'm just going to avoid that because that'll only lead to the person who hates my guts. I mean, that was entertaining. Not everybody's going to like you. And apparently I'm the biggest Blake Bortles fan in the world, according to this fan.
You do have – I looked in your closet before we started the recording. I found at least 3 jerseys.
That's a lie. They've never printed those. They've never made Blake Bortles jerseys.
That's what they're custom made.
Oh, okay.
That's how big of a Blake Bortles fan you are.
I think it was because I streamed him one week, which is and he actually performed. He had like 280 and 2 touchdowns or something. Yeah. All right.
Moving on.
Quick
question.
Oh, yeah, quick question of the day. If you had to draft one quarterback that is not named Aaron Rodgers for the rest of the season, who would it be? Dun, 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 dun.
What is going Jason's hands are in the air.
When my hands go in the air this, it means
he's already in defensive position.
I think he's picking somebody who matches his shirt.
What?
Am I wrong?
I don't.
You are wrong. So I'm just throwing this out there. This is not my pick.
Cam Newton.
But I'm not going Cam Newton. This is not my pick, but I don't think it's a crazy pick, and I truly believe he could be one of the best quarterbacks from here on out. My pick would be, just so I can save face, my pick would be Luck, because I truly believe from here on out that's the guy I would want to have. However, I believe Andy Dalton from here on out is a very good quarterback. We talked about it before, but I mean, a couple years ago, he finished as the number 3.
Oh, he's
just letting this one ride, huh? He finished as the number 3 quarterback a couple years ago. Now he has a healthy A.J. Green. He's got a Tyler Eifert. He's got... All right.
You're getting all the drops, man.
I can't speak, so I have to hit the buttons.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying,
there is no statistical argument I can make against it right now.
Yeah, he's the number 2 quarterback right now on the season.
I would take Tom Brady. Rest of season, I would take Tom Brady, coming off a bye. I don't mind Andrew Luck, but the injury thing concerns me a little bit, and the team just doesn't seem to be able to. Jason, you said this in the beginning before we drafted, and obviously we like Andrew Luck. We think he'll be. I think even with me saying Brady, it's like Luck will be 3 or something, but you said this in the beginning. We saw it with Matt Stafford about 4 years ago. When a player has a top fantasy season one time, there's always the potential for regression. There's always the potential the touchdown numbers aren't always there. He's been turning the ball over a lot.
Yeah, the assumption was that last year was his
new
coming
baseline.
Out party and his new baseline. But the truth is that could have just been. I mean, we knew last year, we talked about a lot with Andrew Luck how many of his goal line passing touchdowns they're like to the running back position. Speaking of which, Ahmad Bradshaw it's worth noting that he is going to Indianapolis for a work.
He's just working out.
He's just going to an LA Fitness there and getting his getting his workout on.
You got to get your money's worth. Those LA Fitness membership fees are outrageous.
They are. But the point is,
but if you'd like to sponsor the show,
he had a lot of touchdowns that were through the air that weren't real. I mean, it was like if that doesn't happen over and over, and it doesn't look like it's happening this year, then he would go back to being a really good quarterback, not what he was last year. So,
Mike, what's your answer?
Tom Brady. Regrettably, I'm not I've spoken. I'm not a huge fan of fantasy for Tom Brady, but they kicked it up a gear this again back to the up yours. We're gonna run up the score. So as long as they continue to do that, you got to go with Tom Brady.
We've got our Review-A-Saurus Rex section now. Every week we like to highlight a couple of reviews. We really appreciate them on iTunes when you leave us a review. Support the show. We're an independent podcast, and so your fandom makes a big difference to us. So if you appreciate the show, we like those reviews. So let's go ahead and read one right now.
Review-A-Saurus Rex.
This one comes in from Javin In. Amazing! Exclamation point.
Did they write exclamation point?
No, I just like to read punctuation.
No one could tell he was excited when he said the word.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Fantasy Footballers podcast is one of my favorites to wake up to. I've been listening for this season only, and you guys give impeccable advice from who to start and who to stream off of the waiver wire. I've made some bold decisions based off of all you guys' predictions and advice, and can definitely keep withstanding victories. Well, good job, Javin In.
My only question for Javin In is, how late do you wake up?
Yeah,
Javin In is living the life.
Yeah.
Maybe he's in Hawaii.
Okay.
Way
to think outside the box.
Like I just said, Javin In is living the life.
There you go.
All right, let's talk some news and notes.
News and notes from around the league.
All right, it is Tuesday, and we have a bunch of injury notes and various updates for you. So I'm going to kind of go through these quick because we have a lot, and you guys jump in Mike, Jason, when you want to say something about what I'm talking about. Carlos Williams has a concussion, and they are indeed working out Trent Richardson. I do not believe that Richardson would get – I think he's more of an insurance policy.
Yes.
Boobie Dixon,
yes.
Anthony Dixon, and Sierra Wood would take the carries in a very kind of non-enthusiastic way.
Yep. There's a possibility that Williams can still be cleared, but concussions are all over the place, so we don't know.
Are we counting McCoy out?
Yes. I am.
You both are?
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw a report last week that seemed very legitimate, saying that it could be 3 or 4 weeks, and then right after that he was officially ruled out. So it seemed to carry weight for my little heart.
If
you the Grinch?
I have a little, yes, it's undersized.
a teeny
little, I'm a mean-spirited man.
Sammy Watkins' calf injury is not considered a long-term concern. That doesn't mean he'll play this week, but it does mean that he'll likely be back soon. There's a report saying Dez Bryant could be back after the Week 6 bye that's coming out of Dallas camp.
Personally, I think that's ridiculous, but maybe.
I may have made an offer or two for him today.
With news like that, I don't blame you.
Eric Ebron was hurt last night.
It
which
didn't
is
look
unfortunate.
Good.
No, I was worried immediately about a fibula fracture type of injury. He had the side of his leg impacted, although they did come out and say knee, didn't they?
I do not recall.
Yeah, it didn't look great. It's disappointing. They already have Pettigrew on the shelf, but if Ebron loses some time, you might have to pay attention to Pettigrew again someday. Brashad Perryman, a report came out that he did not suffer a new injury as had been previously reported.
He doesn't need new injuries.
He's got the old ones.
Yeah.
Do you think never mind. I'm not going to go there with Brashad today. The Indianapolis Star says that Andrew Luck should play on Thursday night. So if you have Luck and you're wanting to start him, I think missing last week right now it's proving to be a great decision for the team because he got to rest the arm, no risk of re-injury. The report had said he had a mildly separated shoulder. That's kind of what he's dealing with. And now he can come out on Thursday night against the Texans. So we'll see if the Texans defense shows up eventually this year. I'm waiting. I've been sitting there with bated breath.
Someday.
Lance Dunbar did indeed suffer a torn ACL in the Week 4 loss to the Saints. He will miss the remainder of the season. What do we expect to see on third down in Dallas?
For now, unless they add somebody, I think it's Joseph Randle taking the third down. We did not give a Kristen Michael watch an update.
Is there people? Just you, right?
No, there is at least 3 people on Twitter asking for Kristen Michael.
Okay, what's the update, Mike?
We saw him in the game. We saw him get a snap. We did it.
How did he do?
How'd he do?
We did it, everybody. I believe he was 1 for -1.
That was it? They only gave him -1 for that? That looked like a -4 to me. But
that's how good he is. It was a -4, but he turned it into a -1.
He leaned forward 3.
Well,
but there's so Randle, I think, will get some more third downs. There was, for the truthers out there, there was a blurb that's saying that they're going to have to get Michael more involved, which seems like a no-brainer.
It's true. Stephen Jones expects Michael to step up and play a role.
Yeah, 1 carry for
redraft leagues. That's big time. All right. Gary Kubiak says that Ronnie Hillman deserves more touches. Let's talk briefly about the C.J. Anderson situation. Who would you rather have rest of season right now?
I would rather have C.J. Anderson because I think he's going to get the ball first. I guess in truth, I would rather have Justin Forsett or someone that you can get for C.J.
I don't think you can get Justin Forsett for CJ.
How about Danny Woodhead?
Nope.
Yes, I'd rather have Danny Woodhead.
So would I, but I don't think you can go get him anymore.
No, that's all we were saying.
Yeah.
But I'm with Jason. I'd still rather have C.J. Anderson. Ronnie Hillman had the huge run, which those count. But besides that, he was not great. And Anderson is still the passing guy.
That's what you mentioned yesterday, that he still is in there to protect Peyton Manning, which means he's on the field. He'll have some opportunities. So disappointing season for C.J. Anderson, especially where a lot of experts had him on the board. We were talking yesterday, some had him as high as number 1, and he just has not come out and performed this season at all. And I think at a minimum you have a timeshare here. And if Ronnie Hillman can break a 70-yard run, I might roll him out there more often than not because of the potential. So, and he catches the ball a little bit. All right, Jordan Reed has done what he always does. Unfortunately, I feel bad for him, to be honest, because he's such a talented player. However, he decided to double injure himself this past week with a concussion and an MCL sprain. Is that correct?
That is correct.
No timetable on the return of Jordan Reed and nobody behind him.
Yeah.
Trent Richardson is working out for the Washington Redskin tight end position. That is not true. The Texans are sticking with Ryan Mallett at quarterback, which we'll get to see on prime time.
Congratulations.
I'm just throwing this out there. I thought for at least 30 seconds about making him my stream of the week.
Oh.
Hey, how'd Blake?
I don't blame you.
Blake Bortles did fantastic last week against the Colts' messed up secondary. So
well,
I did not make him, but I'm just saying.
Greg Toller, the second DB for the Colts, is supposed to be back.
Oh,
this
is
week.
he?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then glad I didn't make Ryan Mallett my stream of the week.
A small handcuff-related note: Nile Davis falling behind Char West in Kansas City. So at a minimum, if you're just holding on to Davis, this is one of the situations where you just stop holding a handcuff. I mean, if I'm a Charles owner, I just don't even worry about it. It's kind of the way I was with Jonathan Stewart anymore. I know that Artis Payne's not going to necessarily get it. Whitaker's not going to get it in Carolina. So
yeah, why Nile Davis was so great is because if Charles was not in, then Nile got a huge workload. He just became the guy. But it sounds like if Charles were to go down, it would just be a muddy split. So he's not worth it.
And a note for everybody with your rosters, make sure you're not playing any Carolina Panthers, Miami Dolphins, Minnesota Vikings, or New York Jets this week.
Correct.
Because you will get 0 points because they're on bye. Also, don't play injured players. They don't count for any points either. All right, looking at the game last night, what stuck out to you from the Lions-Seahawks game? At this point, I'm just going to come out and say it. Not that I was ever, I might have been grabbing onto the caboose every once in a while, but I'm done with Amir Abdullah. I'm not going to rely on him as
jumped off the train.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That's a dangerous thing to jump off a train.
I think as close as I ever got was I was holding on and it was pulling me along. You guys were pulling me along.
Were you on a skateboard holding onto the back of the train?
You know who Abdullah is? He's
Amir
CJ
Abdullah?
Spiller right now.
Yeah,
with Buffalo in years past, where you keep buying into the speed and the big play, and he will have a big play this year. But right now, I mean, even in a game without Joique Bell, where Zach Zinner got 1 carry, he was on the field. They gave him 53% of the snaps compared to Riddick. Riddick had about 38% of the snaps, but from an efficiency standpoint, they were identical efficiency.
But let me ask you: did you actually expect Abdullah to do good things against the Seattle run D in Seattle? I mean, is that a fair time to jump off the Express?
Well, I mean, he has to perform on a consistent basis to ever get on.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, expectations or not, I mean,
I think the train is running right now at about a solid 30 miles an hour. It's not a fast.
All I'm saying is
jog.
I'm in a position where I'm no longer putting him out there. I'm in a prove it to me before I put you out there mentality. It doesn't mean he can't do it later this season. Just means that I'm going to watch him do it from my bench first. I'm going to put a better option in the game.
He does play the Cardinals this week. Not a good matchup. So
yeah. Calvin Johnson owners, what are your thoughts on Calvin Johnson right now? Is he a top 10 wide receiver rest of the season?
Yes, and I think he's a decent purchase option. Every opinion on Calvin would have changed if a 2-inch fumble, was not punched out or punched out 2 inches later. We'd be like, oh, he had a decent game. There were also a couple throws that were, they looked for him longer, which we hadn't seen them doing this year. He looks a little slower, a little less like he's going to break things off to me. So I'm not madly in love with him.
He did get separation down the sideline that Stafford missed him. But I agree with you. I saw him struggle to get off a press a couple times. And, Seattle's a tough matchup.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when they cheat. All right, let's go ahead and thank our sponsor, Stamps.com. Listen, you guys do whatever it takes to make sure your business runs efficiently. That's what we do here for the Foot Clan. And so constant trips to the post office, they get in the way of that. With Stamps.com, you'll be able to spend less time at the post office and more time growing your business. Stamps.com makes mailing and shipping super easy. You can use your own computer and printer to buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter or any package. And listen, we're not alone in this. Over 500,000 small businesses use Stamps.com and never go to the post office. That's a lot of people not going to the post office. So we use Stamps.com here for all of our Foot Clan gear, and right now you can get a special offer. You can use the promo code Footballers, and you get a 4-week free trial plus a $110 bonus offer, including a postage and a digital scale. So don't wait. Go to Stamps.com, and before you do anything else, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in Footballers. That's Stamps.com and enter Footballers.
And we would also like to thank another great sponsor of the show, SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the place to grab your best tickets. The NFL season is in mid-swing, and it's the only place to get your tickets right now. If you're a fan of NFL football and, you know, you're a Ravens fan, you're a Bengals fan, you're a Bucs fan, you got some home games this week and some good matchups to go to the game and watch your team, support them. Or if you're the opposing fan, go and support them in the danger zone on the road.
That's right.
But
danger zone.
If you want to get tickets to your game, you use SeatGeek. They have a great app. There's 3 great things they do. First, they pull in tickets from all over 100 different places, and then they give you the deal score. We've talked about that, where you can see the best ticket price. And finally, all you have to do is have a one-touch purchase. It's so easy and so quick to get tickets. So you can get $20 off your first purchase because of being a fan of the show. So to just download the free SeatGeek app today, enter the promo code Footballers in the app, and SeatGeek will then send you $20 off once you've made your first SeatGeek purchase. And every ticket purchased on SeatGeek backed by a 100% guarantee. So go download the SeatGeek app for free today.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Whoa.
Lana.
It's a little danger zone for you.
X-rays on lines TE. Tight end. I don't know why I said that.
Yeah,
Eric
that's
Ebron's
strange.
left knee came back negative. He's still going to have an MRI, though.
Okay. All right. We're going to get into the waiver wire, talk some guys worthy of signing this week. It's a little thin, but there are some guys out there I think that should definitely be owned and rostered, so let's get into that.
Put me in, coach.
I should throw in there that Martavis Bryant is expected to play on Monday night.
Yeah.
Are we excited about that?
Of course. Marty McBride.
All right.
Very excited.
I know. It's about time, huh? We can start putting that drop at the beginning of the show again. All right. Let's talk about wide receivers. Michael Crabtree continues to be peppered with targets. He was 5 for 80 this past week, which was actually a higher yardage line than Cooper. Which, did we expect that?
What, last week?
Oh, not this past week. Yeah. I mean,
Just in
Cooper
general?
scored, but Crabtree once again out-yarded him.
Out-yarded?
Yeah, I mean, he's been pretty consistent.
Yeah, I like Crabtree moving forward.
Do you like him more than Ruben Randle moving forward? Randle
That's
was not.
tough.
He was only 3 for 31, but he scored again.
Yeah, they're on about the same. Maybe I like Crabtree a little bit better.
Yeah, I do too. I'm not expecting. I've been Mr. Anti-Victor Cruz, and I don't expect good things from him when he does get back the rest of the way. But he will draw some targets away from Ruben Randle. Nobody's doing that. If he gets back, you're saying? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, the big names that in the wide receiver position that will probably be signed this week on your waiver wire are Allen Hurns, Kamar Aiken, and Tavon Austin. Those are kind of the big headliners because they all scored. Hurns was 11 for 116, which was Mike's start of the week. Saw a lot of tweets thanking Mike for that selection. Which is pretty bold. That might have been your best pick of the year.
I believe
I retired. I'm not making any more starts of the week.
That's smart.
I believe the Bortles and Hurns connection won $1 million in FanDuel.
Did it really?
Think so.
Oh, that makes sense.
There you go.
Now, was that from one of the?
That was straight advice from Mike, the fantasy hitman. Right?
Nobody
You made
else.
someone $1 million.
Wow. Kickbacks can be sent to Kamar Aiken. I like him a lot this week. He was 5 for 170. That's not right. He didn't have 177 yards.
Yeah, I didn't type that in. You did.
I believe maybe 5 for 77 and a touchdown. Let's go with that.
5 for 345 yards.
Jason can effort that while we
Yeah,
talk
grab
about
it.
the matchup this week. Do we like him with Steve Smith out?
Yeah.
As a 1-week start, he's going against the Browns at home. Flacco throws the ball. He has to throw to somebody.
I like Aiken a lot. And you see it. I mean, Brashad Perryman, even though he doesn't have a new injury, is still out and looks like he's still going to be out for a little bit. He had 89 yards 2 games ago, 77 last one. Steve Smith is going to be out. So
I also want to apologize to Steve Smith.
Yeah,
because I made him my number 1 PPR guy,
and what happened, Andy?
It didn't work out for Mr. Smith, which sucks. I have him in a bunch of leagues, and now he's hurt. So.
Stop making anyone your number 1. Just start at 2.
That's so smart.
Yeah,
my number 2 this week is.
I love it.
All right, anybody else that stands out for you? Hankerson had a good game.
I think Tavon is interesting because it's never been a question of talent. It's been the play calling in St. Louis. They couldn't figure out how to really get him involved. And this year, I don't know. It seems like it's finally clicking. So he's an interesting guy to grab.
I like the fact that his 2 scores were red zone scores from about 10 or 15 out. Like they drew up plays with him as the main read in the red zone, which is not what you see with small guys all the time. But he got separation, made 2 good plays, scored 2 touchdowns, got a couple carries. Yeah, he's worthy of consideration.
He's really fast.
He is super fast. He actually, him and Landry have some things in common to me where, they kind of get separation underneath and then they fight for every single yard possible. So Hankerson, Ginn Jr. had 2 touchdowns on 2 catches for 18 yards.
Yeah.
So you can count on that, right?
That's sustainable.
Super sustainable. And then Willie Snead.
Hey.
Came out of nowhere. 6 for 89.
He's got the trust of Drew Brees. The problem is, I think he was only on the field for like
50-something.
Yeah,
percent
in the
of snap.
50s, maybe.
Well, I mean,
60%.
Could go up.
Got to try a guy out.
Yeah,
got to give him a shot. I want to play for the.
He's fun to watch.
I want to play for the Saints.
I enjoy watching him, and he gave a solid book it.
Oh, he booked it. Yeah,
that was Snead.
Yeah.
Oh, he gave the book it sign. All right. Running backs, Duke Johnson, if he's on your waiver wire, he should be rostered immediately.
Yeah, I think Duke is my number 1 priority this week.
Yeah, I agree with that one. And then Ronnie Hillman, if for some reason he's still out there, he has a chance to really, take the lion's share of carries if he continues to succeed with big plays like that. He was 11 for 103 this past week with a touchdown. What do we think about Antonio Andrews? Because a lot of people might have snagged him last week on waivers. He does not have a good matchup this week against the Bills front line. Do we think Andrews has the potential to – could he give you a spot start on a bye week?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Right now it looks like he will be the main ball carrier in Tennessee. We talked about Terrence West, who was traded for, has already become healthy scratch, and Bishop Sankey, his snap count plummeted, and clearly the improvement just has not been there for Sankey, so they got to do something. And so Antonio Andrews was a guy who – kind of flashed here in the off season, and it was talked about a little bit, not a very ton.
He got a lot of preseason carries, and he looked good in the preseason.
But he's worth rostering.
Okay,
at this point, I'm not sure I would start him this week. But
that's what I was going to ask you. Would you start him over? Let me see here. Matt Jones.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
What about Amir Abdullah?
Oh man, no.
What about Ryan Matthews?
Yeah, Ryan Matthews, that whole situation is really interesting in Philadelphia. I'll sidetrack a little bit, but we have no idea what's going on. Murray is being a pain in the buttocks up there, jawing off to the media.
Give me more carries
on the sideline.
Give me more carries.
And do you really feed into that? Like, if you're Chip Kelly, do you let him push you into that? A guy who
I have no idea.
Who seems to want to always be in control, and he does everything his way. Is he going to let a player earn more carries going that route?
It's pretty frustrating because obviously Bradford and Kelly recruited him heavily to come there and be the lead dog. And so if he doesn't feel he's getting the opportunity, he's expressing that he wants to win. I don't think Murray's a bad guy, but it seems like a distraction when you're 1-3 and your priority is give me more carries versus let's win. Let's find a way to win the game.
And also when you're running so terribly. I mean, that's the real hardship. If he was running well, he's breaking off 5 yards of carry and saying, get me the ball more. But it's like, what? Why should we be giving you the ball more every time we give you the ball? We're 3 and out.
Right. And so last week, DeMarco Murray was 8 for 36. That included a 30-yard run.
Also known as 7 for 8.
The rest
of those. That would be 7 for 6.
LaDainian Tomlinson came out and said he thought Matthews was a better fit.
And Ryan Matthews, I don't know what his longest one. I'm looking it up right now, but I believe he was 4 for 20. And he had a great week when DeMarco Murray was out. It's just how long can that situation continue before somebody really emerges?
All right, Boobie Dixon, Anthony Dixon could get the start this week. If he's out there, would you rather start him or Andrews? Like if someone had to make a waiver wire decision between the two.
100% for me, Boobie Dixon over Andrews this week, assuming that Carlos and LaShawn are out. I am not personally buying into Antonio Andrews. It's a tough week 1 matchup. We've only had 1 week where he's actually received the carries, and so we just don't know. He's worth rostering, but I would almost start anyone over. I don't have the cojones to start Andrews up against the Bills when you don't even know that he's going to get the lion's share.
Yeah,
of
I'd go with Dixon.
Well, you have a situation too this week where Chris Ivory's out, Lamar Miller's out, AP's out. So you do have.
Has Lamar Miller really been in?
No, he's still out. This
is a mercy week for the Dolphins. This is like the NFL saying, we knew this was going to come. Please,
yeah, but
take a week, mourn your loss.
I agree with you, Jason. I mean, Andrews was not on the field a ton. He still rotated with Sankey. He just was the better performing back in terms of fantasy production. So, is there any other running backs you guys want to mention? We got Charles Sims having a good week for the 2nd week in a row. He's doing it in the passing game a little bit.
Yeah, Sims is a nice spot start option, I think, just because of the way Tampa is playing right now, getting him on the field because of trailing in games. Which Doug Martin had a pretty good game, so I'm not completely gung ho on Charles Sims, but Chris Thompson I think is another name.
I want to talk about him in that backfield
because the snap count seemed to swing more towards
Washington
Alf.
Redskins, obviously. Yeah,
sorry. It swung more towards Alfred Morris after the Matt Jones fumble.
And they won. End zone. They won again.
Yeah, but Thompson is still getting a large snap count.
He had 1 less carry than Matt Jones. He averaged 8.8 a carry in the last game, and he also catches passes out of the backfield. He was 2 for 24. The game before, he caught like 8 balls. Let me ask this. Matt Jones seems like he's fallen off quite a bit.
I think it's the fumble.
If they're down, Chris Thompson's involved, and apparently when they're competitive, he's gotten involved this week. So he starts to look a little bit safer than he's looked in weeks past. But you still got 3 guys in that backfield.
Yeah, it's a mess. I mean, you're rolling the dice when you go with the Washington running back, but
yeah.
Chris Thompson's he looks better and better.
All right, let's talk tight ends because we've had some tight ends go down. We just talked about Ebron went down. You've had some injuries. So who do we like on the waiver wire? You're going to need to come in and stream a tight end. Charles Clay is probably not there anymore after last week's. We talked about him and his ownership.
He could
percentage.
be, though.
Yeah, I think he's definitely there to be picked up in a lot of waivers. I love Owen Daniels this week. He's available.
You gotta.
Almost every league. I mean, the majority of leagues he's available. And his matchup, we've been saying now for the last 2 weeks, play whoever's going up against Oakland. They did it again. And then here you have Peyton Manning coming up against Oakland, who Peyton Manning is a very intellectual guy. He knows the weaknesses and exploits the weaknesses of a defense. So I think it's a good bet that Owen Daniels could find pay dirt again this week. So he's one of my favorite streamers. Antonio Gates, if he is on waivers.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You pick up Gates.
Yeah.
Because then in a couple of weeks, Antonio Gates gets to play the Raiders.
I wonder how many teams he's on because he was suspended, so he didn't get to go into an IR spot. So this might be the week people actually pick him up. Larry Donnell had 5 catches,
and
Fells is out.
Yes, so he's a guy worth
picking
okay. up. Yeah,
and then anybody else stand out for you?
No, there's no more.
Jordan Reed went out this week too, so they're going to be people looking for
maybe if Kobe Fleener, if Dwayne Allen is still out on Thursday, he's a guy worth throwing out.
All right, let's talk about quarterbacks. Marcus Mariota comes off the bye this week. He might be available in your league. Derek Carr, if he's still there.
Are you hitting the?
Send in the car. Send in the car.
Did you see the Twitter video that was made?
No.
Oh, someone made a video with that clip and then Derek Carr's picture comes in
What?
right over it. So
I have not seen it.
Shout out to you, unnamed Twitter.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Carr's still about a 50% owned quarterback, so if you need somebody to play this week, I don't mind that, although he's playing the Broncos.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would not. I would definitely not want Carr against the Broncos.
I still like Tyrod Taylor. He had a down game, but there was.
I just don't think he's available in many leagues.
Yeah, we're just these are quarterbacks that we think should be picked up and owned and played.
Well, you're also
regularly.
You're gonna see Tyrod Taylor dropped here.
Yes.
As waivers come today and people need bye weeks. You're not going to maybe see him on waivers right now today, but in the morning you'll find him having been dropped for other options, I think
that's a good point.
Several people.
You think that Tyrod Taylor's going to get dropped?
I think if someone picked him up and played him this week and he had a down week, there is some vengeful fantasy owners who will cut him immediately.
Sam Bradford's only owned in 50% of the leagues right now, and he had a good week last week, so he's a great streaming option.
Has a great match.
Hint. Jay Cutler, what do we think of him if he gets Alshon Jeffrey back?
If he gets Alshon Jeffrey back, he's going up against the 32nd out of 32 teams ranked fantasy defense against the quarterback. So they're giving up a lot of points. Granted, 1 week was against Aaron Rodgers,
inflated,
but it's not as inflated as you'd think. They've consistently given up touchdowns through the air. So I like Jay Cutler this week. Andy Dalton is, I talked about him earlier. He has a terrible matchup against Seattle this week, but he's still available in over a quarter of the leagues. And if you want to talk about a guy where in a good matchup can put up 30-plus points, it's a guy like Andy Dalton.
All right, and defenses to pay attention to this week. The Chiefs are facing the Bears, depending on what weapons Cutler has, and they just haven't been a good offense. The Packers are facing the Rams. The Rams seem to have a ceiling on what they can score outside of the defensive side of the ball. The Patriots are facing the Cowboys and Brandon Weeden. The Falcons are facing the Redskins and had a really good game defensively last week. The Cardinals are facing Detroit, and that's in Detroit, but the Cardinals have been pretty good. And then the Bucs are facing the Jaguars. And what do we think about that matchup? Are the Bucs worthy of starting against the Jags?
Yeah, I don't love it, but it's worth it if you don't have a better option. Blake Bortles he's going to Bortles because that's what he does
occasionally,
a lot. And so there's just what's the over-under on interceptions in that game? Blake Bortles versus Jameis Winston.
5.
I'll say 4.
4.
Take the over.
Winston had 4 last week.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Pretty bad. So, I mean, does that make the Jaguars a start too? I think it does. I think they might both be a start.
Can you flex one of those defenses?
Can you flex one? All right, let's go ahead and get into our streams at the quarterback position.
Full stream ahead.
All right, so we like to get into the streaming section here on Tuesday before your waiver wires go through. Last week, pretty good. We did okay. Yeah, Dalton and Carr had a pretty good week. Tyrod Taylor he wasn't that bad, to be honest. He still put up an okay number by the end of it all, but he didn't have the week we expected.
Tyrod actually finished higher than Carr.
Yeah?
Yeah, slightly.
Okay. So this week, who do we like as streaming quarterback options? If you drafted a quarterback late, you need to put somebody in there. You got a bye week. Who do we like?
So these are kind of the options that we laid out. We got Marcus Mariota, Josh McCown, Alex Smith, Blake Bortles, Sammy Biscuits. He rides again. Joe Flacco and Jay Cutler. I think those are the kind of the
considerations.
Yes, where they're very low owned, and I'm going to need the Foot Clan. Plug your nose, hold your breath. If you're standing up, please sit down. If you're eating something, please finish chewing. I'll give you a moment before I announce.
They can just pause it.
Yeah, before I announce my stream of the week. Josh McCown.
Ooh.
We're going with Josh McCown. The last couple games, he's averaged 350 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Pretty good.
He's going up against the Ravens, who gave up 350 yards to Derek Carr and 380 yards to Dalton. So it's just the matchup is there. The Ravens DBs have not been great. And Josh McCown he's getting it done one way or the other. So
Duke Johnson's helping.
Yeah, and Duke Johnson's getting very involved in the passing game.
The weapons are showing up there the way that we didn't think that they had weapons through the air to start the year. Travis Benjamin is still a weapon. Their tight end is being used.
Gary Barnidge, man.
Yeah,
Gary.
All right, Josh McCown is Mike's guy. Mike's favorite player in the NFL. Josh McCown.
You heard it here.
All right, I'm going to go with Sam Bradford because I'm a glutton for punishment. Sammy Biscuits plays the Saints.
Butter up the biscuits.
Oh, he had a 3-touchdown week. I still just want to believe. I want to believe that the Eagles will figure something out on offense. But
I love this. I love this pick.
Yeah, I think he just has a good matchup, and I think
he's playing the Saints. Did we say that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Oh, sorry.
They're playing the Saints, and it's at home. So I kind of like Sam Bradford this week.
No, I don't blame you. I would have picked him as well, but you had picked him. He's only available in about half the leagues. If you want a guy who is available in almost every single league out there, which is a scary proposition, my stream of the week is Jay Cutler. Jay Cuddy. I said just a minute ago that the Kansas City D has given up the most points in fantasy through to the quarterback position. 32nd. You've got Jay Cutler, who last week put up a good line. He had 2 touchdowns.
Because they also won.
And they won the game.
Good. I
so
like Jay Cutler.
You've got a good matchup. You've got a decent quarterback in Jay Cutler. And Alshon Jeffrey, hopefully, especially for my stream of the week,
hopefully
is playing, because that would really help my stream of the week. I'm with the assumption that he will be playing this week. So Jay Cutler available everywhere.
Yeah, he always throws in the very end of game interception.
Yeah,
and that's always
that's
an exciting and fun part about owning him. Is when's he going to throw it? Is it going to be
the good news
on the
is
last drive?
It's only -2.
Yeah.
Even if the defense scores on his interception, he just loses 2 points.
Yeah,
he's had one in every game he started this year. Just one, and it's always late.
Yeah. Well, if it's early, that just means he's got to throw more. He's going to get down. So.
No, I don't mind that. And I think Jeffrey will be back this week. I think he was really close last week, and they just held him out. And the Bears are no longer winless, which makes Detroit the only winless team.
Which is a shame because they should not be winless.
I know. It is a shame, and that's tough. All right. Any additions to this show you guys want to make? Anything going on?
No. I mean, nothing fantasy related. I have an interesting question for you guys. A maneuver that I had to pull off this morning while I was getting ready. Both sinks are occupied.
Okay.
I had to brush my teeth.
How does that happen, by the way?
Yeah.
Because I have a wife and I have many children.
Okay.
He's got 12 children,
they're
just so you know.
Oh, I thought he meant mini children.
Oh, mini. Yeah, they're 12 little guys.
Mini. No. We're
Indian
talking
in the cupboard style?
like Philip Rivers' amount of children running through my house. No, I don't. But anyway, so the sinks are occupied, but I also have to shower. I'm running very low on time. I had to brush my teeth in the shower.
Really?
And I felt disgusting. And I don't recommend this for anybody.
I think people do that.
I don't mind brushing your teeth in the shower at all.
You are a savage and a heathen and a disgusting human being. Do not brush your teeth in the shower. It's gross.
Is it because...
I'm going to film myself brushing my teeth in the shower. I'm sitting at you, Mike.
I wouldn't do that.
It felt horrible. It just was, I don't know.
The spitting part is the worst because you just spit it on the ground.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if that's what ruined it, spitting it on the ground.
It just was a terrible experience, and I hope to never go back to that well.
But you made it here on time.
Yeah.
Good job.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have been here to pick Josh McCown as your start of the week.
That's true.
Wait, not start of the week, stream of the week.
And here's a true story. I feel far more disgusting brushing my teeth in the shower than playing Josh McCown this week. That's the world I live in.
Hey, I want to remind everybody, too, if you're not already on jointhefoot.com, then neither are we, because that doesn't exist. Jointhefoot.com, that is our fantasy football community. We have exclusive content over there for listeners of the show. You can talk about your trade offers. You can talk about your starts, your sits. I mean, this is kind of crucial time for a lot of people. You're starting to, it's week 5. Somehow. We're here, week 5. And hopefully you're leading your division or you're in the fight for the playoffs.
And
never give up.
And this Friday, am I correct that we scheduled it for this Friday?
Yeah.
So
we have the Twitter Blitz.
This Friday there will be a Twitter Blitz, full-on frenzy. 8 hours?
8 straight hours.
Whose idea was this?
Yeah,
Andy's.
It was my idea.
8 straight hours on Twitter.
That's true. On Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Pacific.
PST. Yeah.
Pacific.
We will be on Twitter answering questions, so stay tuned for that. Check out jointhefoot.com. You can find us on Twitter at the FF Ballers if you want to take part in that Twitter blitz that's going on. And we'll be back here tomorrow. Sound good?
That sounds great.
We should come back tomorrow.
Sounds great.
All right. You better buy a little more time for brushing, though. You don't want to be an animal.
Maybe I'll just get another sink installed. I'll try the bathtub next time.
Ooh.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Don't forget to visit us on the web at www.thefantasyfootballers.com and follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers.
Why do I have a tweet 1 minute ago that says today's show is up? Check out week 4 review, studs, duds, and more.
From you.
From me.
What do you mean?
Someone tweeted from my account that says today's show is up, but it's talking about yesterday's show.